Hello, today we're going to talk about Story Builder. In the City of Brass, you build your game setting in World Builder. You run your game using Campaign Manager, but it's into Story Builder that you go to write your adventure and get ready for that game. For today's example, I'll enter the first few encounters of the Book of Turnio, an adventure I wrote for the Pathfinder role-playing game. We'll get started by creating the introduction. Here you can see it in the PDF form. As usual, you're going to begin in your Story Builder toolkit. You just click the little plus to create a new adventure. You have to give it a name and set the privacy. Everything else is optional. If you've been following along, the label, short description, these things should all be familiar. You'll find them throughout the City of Brass. So privacy will determine who can see it. Most of your adventures will probably be private. A short description is going to be useful as it will show up on your index screen so you can see just a quick snapshot of what this adventure is about. The full description is where we're going to start building out the text that will appear on our introduction page. I've pasted in from Word here, and then I'll show you. You can see it appears just on the page for our use. Now we'll go in and we'll use some page sections to add some additional data. You could just do this in the detail on the previous screen, but the page sections just will allow you to keep it kind of separate, keep these logical sections separate. So use them or not use them as you please. I'm going to clean the text up a little bit here. This is just pasted in from my adventure in Microsoft Word. Once I've got this pasted in and cleaned up, I'll save it and you can see it in action back on the main screen. So we'll go back in and we'll look at some features. Features are little bits of text that are going to show up at the very top of the page. So you could use them for, in this case, I'll denote the author of the adventure. I'll put in credits for the artist. But I could use them to link into World Builder or perhaps link to a character or something else that I wanted quick and easy access to. You can also access some special features to get at child records or tags and things of that nature that I'll show you in the future. You can see them here at the very top of the page. Those are features. The last thing we'll do here is just give it a picture, just to give it a little bit of appeal, visual appeal. I'm going to select from my pictures, but I could pick a stock image if I wanted to. And then I'll call that pretty much a wrap. With the introduction done, I can begin to build the adventure itself. If you look on the left menu there, you'll see that I've got in light gray a couple of different types of things to add. I can add encounters, handouts, and stories. We'll start with an encounter, and encounters are really going to be the primary focus of your adventure. As you work inside the City of Brass, you're going to realize quickly that most of these screens, wherever possible, are the same. So here as we build an encounter, we've got to give it a name and a privacy setting, and really that's it. Everything else is optional. So we'll put in some full description text that's going to show up on the page, and then we'll go in and build some page sections to give it some additional detail. Here's where we'll get to see some of the other types of page sections. In addition to just text, I've got this read aloud section type. And as you see here, it's going to change the text a little bit and make it stand out so that you can quickly see the stuff that is meant to be read to your players. As we build out our page here, we'll use a couple of different types of sections. Here we're going to put in a sidebar. Sidebar is text that is pushed to the right of the page and has its own header and a different background color, so it will stand out from the other text on the page. I'll also put in some additional bulleted text, and you can see I'm pasting in from Word, and so I got to clean this up as I do. But notice that it maintains some of the formatting there. It kept the bold for me, so I don't have to do that. So I'll keep building this out. I'm going to expand this so I have an easier view into the text itself. Paste it in some more, and our page is coming together now. We'll go ahead and take a look at it, and you can see each of the elements that we've built here. So I think now is a good time to give it a picture, and in this case I'm going to pick from the stock images. This particular encounter deals with a Thawne Giant, and we have one of those in our stock image library. So I'll pick that guy and then save it, and you can see he shows up on the page in the top right. I'm going to build out some more of the page here quickly, just using the same features that I've already showed you. And then I'll show you kind of what the page looks like when it's all finished. Next we'll add a menu item to it. So I'm going to do that in a couple of ways. I can go back home and then go to Page Edit, or I could just hit that light gray link on the left that says Adventure Menu. This is going to create a link on the left to the encounter that I just built. So I'll give it a name, and then I use the link builder to choose it. Now in this particular instance, I've only just got started, so my drop-down menus here are pretty sparse. But as the adventure gets larger, these menus will populate with items that I add. So I've got it here getting started, and then you can see now on the left, we've got a link to our new encounter. So there's a couple more things that I'll show you before we go and add a child encounter. The first is how you can link to an image without using the image picker. You go into your images and select the image in question, and we've got 3 different versions of it of different sizes. And each one has a URL that you can grab. You go back into your adventure itself, into the page in question, and in this case we'll do it with a page section. I'm going to add a new page section at the very bottom. I'll call it map because that's what I'm going to do here. And then I'll just paste the map in using the image button here. So I'm going to put the URL in there and then save that. And you'll see that this will add to my page a new section with the map. The Getting Started scene actually has 2 encounters that are part of it. One with giant flies and another with fawn giants. So we're going to add them as children to the encounter itself. So this encounter will have 2 child encounters. You'll build out the encounter pages just like you do all the rest of your pages in the City of Brass. Using page sections and features, you can create as complicated or as simple encounters as you desire. With the encounter set up, I want to go ahead and add a link to it. In this case, I'm going to use a feature for that. I'll go into Features and select the type of child. What that will do is pull all of the children records and list them just at the very top of the page. I'll give it a title, in this case I'll call it Encounters, and then you'll see that they will show up now automatically at the very top of the Getting Started encounter. As I add additional children records, they'll show up here automatically. And we'll do that as we build that second encounter I mentioned. The second encounter is with a fawn. Just like the previous encounter, it's going to need the same sorts of stuff. A name, privacy. I can pick a menu item in this case. You see the parent is set for me automatically. And then you'll see here, if I go to view it and then I drill up to its parent, that this record has automatically been linked from my Getting Started encounter. I'm going to create one last encounter here and link it off of my left menu, just to show you how you might do this if you were actually building your own adventure. You just build out the pages just like we've already shown you, and when you're all set, you've got a nice, easy to use, beautiful page laid out for you. The last thing I'll show you today are handouts. These are meant to be viewed by your players, and they're created and built just like everything else that you do in the City of Brass. In my case, I've got a simple menu for the local tavern that I'd want my players to be able to see, just to add a little flair to the game. Once I've got the menu or the handout created, I'll give it a tag so that I can show you how to link things together with tags. It's not limited to just handouts. You could link together encounters, you could link the handouts themselves, you could link stories, whatever you want to do. So we'll give this a tag and then go back to our main page where we're going to actually add the tag itself. We'll do this as a page feature. So it's going to be at the very top. I'll go into the features area and then choose the tag option, give it a label, and then specify the tag in question. And when I save this and then go back to the screen, you'll see a link has been created automatically that links us back to our handout. There's more coming for Story Builder, things like adding creatures to these encounters, and I'll show you those as soon as they're ready, but they're under development right now and probably won't be ready for about 30 or maybe 45 days. In the meantime, I hope you've enjoyed this look at Story Builder. And by the way, if you're interested in the Book of Turnial, you can buy it on Drive-Thru RPG today.